How you doing, guys? This is Eric from rulthewasteland.com. So I've already talked about how the Chinese stock market has once again had enormous losses in a short amount of time, halting trading, but we've also seen a big decrease in the US stock market, specifically the Dow Jones and a few other indices, just so far this year. Something like over 1,000 points. I think it's 1,200 points or something. A little bit has come back today. I'm speaking right now on, Thursday. And we've had a little bit upswing so far today, 180 points, I think. So there's a lot of volatility, but something like well over 1,000 points, I think, have been shed off the Dow Jones so far this year, which means that race is pretty much gains from almost the past 2 years, if not the past 2 years. I'll embed the chart right here so you can take a look at it. But that means that if you had invested money 2 years ago, you would be basically flat, minus any dividends, of course, but also minus any taxes. So you would have had no gains. And if you invested sometime after that 2-year point, you could have actually lost a considerable amount of money, assuming that this stays at this point. And we've actually seen the Royal Bank of Scotland come out saying sell everything, that 2016 is going to be a disastrous year for equities and that you just want to steer clear of it. So we're actually starting to see a lot of voices in mainstream finance and even mainstream financial media starting to say that this could be rough, which is not good, simply because these type of things can also be a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's true that there's plenty of fundamental reasons why the markets should not be nearly as high as they are, but it also is true that when everyone starts talking about getting out, and the general consensus, even among laymen and everything, is that it's going to be bad, it tends to be bad just for that reason alone. So when you have the confluence of bad fundamentals and everyone getting in a panic, which hasn't happened yet, but certainly could happen, we could really start to see some severely bad things happening in the stock market. In political news, we see that the chickens may be finally coming home to roost for the Clintons. We have Trump not being shy about going after the Clintons for all manner of indiscretions, including Bill and his dalliances, wanted or unwanted, with various women. There's been rumors of coercion and sexual assault and everything else, and he's not shy about bringing that up, since Hillary's the one who is always mentioning things about, or the Democrats specifically mentioning things about war on women. Certainly fair game. We're seeing the email scandal continue to grow to the point that there is 100% known now that she did handle classified data illegally. I mean, she has gone above and beyond, hundreds of times worse than whatever Petraeus did, which was one classified message. And she has evidence now. There's an email that showed that she actually told them to remove the classified heading from a classified email so that they could, or a classified data, so they could send it over personal email. So she knew it was classified, and she actually told them to remove the classified heading to send it. So there's no doubt that she broke the law and handled that stuff incorrectly. The only question is what's going to be done about it from the justice side. I've read some articles. Bill Still had some interesting info on this, that there's a lot of pressure within the FBI community to try and bring charges, to try to indict. If they do that, it should happen sometime within the next 30 to 60 days. Oh my God, that would be the most glorious thing that I can ever remember in political history in my lifetime, if she actually got indicted for this. Now, if they bring up charges, the Attorney General, Loretta Lynch, would have to decide to actually move forward with those charges, which she could try and sweep it under the rug, but that would be a very bad idea for a number of reasons. One, there's a lot of scuttlebutt within the FBI that there'd be almost a coup and a revolt, and high-level directors threatening to resign and stuff, because that would just set a terrible precedent. The intelligence community would be absolutely furious about an unpunished, just kind of breaking of the rules when it comes to handling classified information, because it would be very hard in the future to successfully prosecute other high-level mishandlings, or even just general level mishandlings of classified information, if it's not done with Hillary Clinton. Even before, obviously that would sink her campaign, I believe, completely. But that might not even be necessary. We're seeing Bernie Sanders, the economic genius himself, moving to within the margin of error on several polls either way. Somebody's actually slightly ahead, somebody's slightly behind. but he's within the margin of error on a lot of these primary polls. So he could actually, I mean, people are just getting fed up with Hillary. I think they're starting to realize that she is just a fraud and not a good person. So even though I have absolutely no love for Bernie Sanders because he's a complete raving lunatic, I do think he's a more genuine person. I think he's just stupid. Hillary Clinton, I believe, is borderline evil. She's a compulsive liar. She doesn't actually even believe in any of the principles that she purports to stand for. We've seen stuff with her flip-flopping on a bunch of things. She just wants the power. So Bernie Sanders, is idiotic and senile as he is, I do think he's sort of a true believer in all the nonsense that he spouts. So it's terrible because he's a socialist. And so if he were to get into office, it would be absolutely disastrous for the country. But at this point, I think economically the country, this current status quo is, you know, the clock is ticking anyway, so this would only hasten it if he got in there. But I don't think he would stand a chance against Donald Trump in a general election, and it looks pretty likely at this point that Trump is going to be the one who gets the Republican nomination. Obviously anything can happen, but he's been leading in polls by solid double-digit margins for months. Nothing has, you know, come up that makes it look like that's going to change. I think the people who think that Trump supporters are just going to his rallies and everything in droves and are somehow just not going to show up to vote are somehow deluding themselves. Maybe that's just what they want to believe. But we'll see what happens. And the way I think about it is you always bet on a winner when you're trying to figure out what's going to happen. And Trump is someone who, even in this old interview that they have with Oprah Winfrey back in like the early 90s or something, when he was hinting at maybe doing a presidential run back then even, and they were like, do you think you'd win? And he said, I don't know, I wouldn't go in it to lose, that's for sure. I've never gone in to lose in anything in my life. And that's just the sort of type of person he is. And all other things being equal, bet on the winners. Bet on the people who are shown that they have the ability to consistently win, not just consistently play. So that's who he is. And for better or worse, you may not like him, you may hate him, but he's definitely not a loser. So we'll see what happens in the coming months. It should be very interesting, to say the least. Keep checking back here. Check out rulethewasteland.com, secretoftheinternet.com. Talk to you guys later. Links will be on rulethewasteland.com. You can go to directly or just check the link in the description below. Talk to you guys later.